I thought I'd do a little video here on how I do custom decal work. And I'm getting ready to decal this new locomotive of mine that was lettered for the Wilderness Lumber Company. And this set of decals I made are wrong, so I'm taking these off. And as I was doing the new set, I thought somebody might be interested in how I do my decals. So here's the prototype I'm working on here. And what I like to use is I print my decals over here on an Alps printer. I know they're not really available anymore, but I found a few of them here. This one actually isn't mine. This one I got from someone who couldn't use it anymore, kind of with the condition that if they need decals, I'll print them. I had another one that just wore out, and then I have an old computer that's actually still running on Windows 98, and this is the monitor for it. It's just an old tower down here that I bought years ago. And I keep it on that because it has the drivers for the Alps printer, and also it has an old program I got 20 years ago. It's a super old version of CorelDRAW. Actually, it says, or CorelDRAW. CorelDRAW 12 is actually the version that's on it. But it works good for just doing the decals I have to do. So you can see I'm working here on the decals, and I'm on my third printing of them because every time I put them on, I think that I don't like the way they look proportionally compared to the photos. So I'm going to run another set here quick. And what I've done here is I've just laid out the decals here. I've squashed up the text. I thought it was a little too long, so I made it a little narrow here. And then I did some tender stripes, which I did earlier, but I thought they were too thick, so I thinned them up. And then what I do here basically is in CorelDRAW, when I go to print, I set it to the Alps printer, and then I go into properties here, select the two spot colors, and I start out using a cartridge that I don't really care about. So I set it to cyan for the first run. And then what I'm gonna do here is I just take a piece of paper. I've already run it once, but I'll show you how I'll do it here. Put it in the printer. I tend to just load mine in there, especially when I do decals. My earlier printer actually had a problem loading paper in there, so it took a little while. This one seems to load it pretty good. And then I'll just go ahead and run it with, in this case, I'm gonna do cyan. So just print it really quick here. And so what it's doing, if you don't know about these printers, there's a whole bunch of cartridges in here, and it's going over, finding the cyan one, and it loads it. And now it's going to print it. And so you can see here I have it now on the paper. Now I'm going to go ahead and, it doesn't matter on mine, but I'm going to reload this in a minute here, making sure I use the same side here. But what I'm going to do now, and I just realized it's going to be hard to do this with one hand, is I'm going to take some of that decal paper that I like to use, which is this right here, and I believe it's made by, I think it's made by Bare Metal, if I remember right. Must be in here somewhere. Yeah, right there. It's Bare Metal, item 123. And what it is, it's laser decal paper. Not that that matters for an Alps printer. And it's got the blue back, so it's really nice, thin, clear film. So what I'm gonna do here, and not to turn the camera off to do it, but I'm gonna cut a piece that's just about the size of that area that I printed there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that and then show you how I stick it on this paper. Okay, so I've cut a small rectangle of this paper here, and what I've done is I used just some tape, and I've taped it on so I just make sure it's above the decal and also coming enough below it that it doesn't run out of decal. And what I've done is you make sure the tape goes all the way from corner to corner so the printer doesn't pick up an edge. And then I'll run this through, I'll feed it through, so this will be the leading edge that I tape on the leading edge. Now, if I'm going to do a multicolor decal, I'll also tape the bottom edge, but on white ones, I just tape the top one. So I'll go ahead and stick this back in the printer now, and I'll load it up. And then I'll go back here to the computer, and I'll go down to print. And now I'm going to go into the properties and I'm going to change the color to use the white cartridge. And just so you guys, if you guys haven't seen one of these before, if you open it up, here's all the cartridges. So I have a magenta, loaded, black, cyan, and white. And really I have a silver and a gold too. I normally would keep those in here too, but I was printing something with some color for some reason. And I don't know why these are in here, but normally I'd have like a silver one in here too. The cyan one is kind of my go-to printing one for doing the first print to locate the decal paper, because I have a lot of these. These are getting harder to find, so I really kind of try to conserve the black, the white, and the silver and gold one especially. So let me just close this up. I'm going to go ahead and hit print now. Kind of the way these printers work is they actually, if you're doing a multicolors, you have the option to not eject the paper. So the paper will come out, print all the way to the very end, stop, and then it'll feed itself back through. And by never releasing the paper, it's always registered. Okay, actually this one I got a little crooked. So I can see I kind of ruined one of my white stripes there. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reload this thing in here. And I'm gonna come back here and copy a few white stripes to put on the bottom down here. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I'll just move these down here. And I'll go ahead and get rid of these. It's kind of awkward to do with one hand because I can't use any of my shortcuts. And I'll just undo these edits here. Okay, now I'll just print that again and then, oh, out of paper. Didn't load it right. There it goes. Alright, I got my other line on there. And that one was a little too close to the bottom and it ran out, but that's okay. I got 4 lines, that's all I need. And there's the finished product on the side of the tender. Now this has no clear coat over the top, so you can still kind of see the decal film around there. I used Walther's Solvaset to snuggle it all down on there good. But I'm pretty happy with that. This is actually my 4th try. I went back and adjusted the space between the word lumber and company a little wider. Didn't like how tight it was on the other one. One of the things I had to do was the font I used had the letters too wide. So you can go in there in CorelDRAW and you can squash the text. But what happens is all the spaces get squashed. So you have to do some adjusting there. So I'll go ahead and I'll get the other side done and then I'll clear coat it. Just for those who might be interested, the base is black Tamiya XF1 thinned with IPA sprayed on, and then the clear coat over the top is actually a Model Master clear gloss, and then I'll decal on top of that, and then my steam locomotives, I use a satin finish, not a flat finish, because the weathering, I use enamel washes. They tend to work better over a satin finish, and plus I think steam locomotives have a better look when they're got that kind of semi-glossy with then the contrast of the dirt and grime gives it that kind of wiped down oiled look. So that's how I make my custom decals.